Tech News Weekly is sponsored by GoDaddy. Get a .com domain name for only $2.49 by using offer code QUEENS at checkout.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by John Bubb, as I am each and every week. How you doing, John?
Hello.
How was Halloween for you?
Uneventful.
You love Halloween, right?
I love Halloween. I'm just disappointed that there was really nothing going on this year.
Oh,
like I didn't do anything. Nothing.
I went out last night. I met up with Rocket from Lunatic Radio and his girlfriend, and Jessica came too, and we got really drunk at a bar.
What a surprise! So it was a normal day for you.
Yeah, I just put on hipster glasses, and Jessica had a panda hat on. That was the only difference. I mean, not too drastic of a change in our lives, but a lot to talk about today, John. A lot's happening. Gearing up for all these tech purchases we're going to have to make over the next couple of weeks, which is insane. If you think about how much it's going to cost, I think we did the math on What the Tech, and it was somewhere around $3,000.
Yeah, it's a good thing you can afford all that.
That's a great thing. I could afford all that. And you know how I could afford all that? By the support of each and every one of you. And I'll tell you how you could help me afford all that. We have an Amazon affiliate link here at the GFQ Network. If you go to gfq.co/Amazon, you could use our Amazon affiliate link. It's not costing you anything extra. We get a tiny little portion of every sale. It helps us out in the long run. We make, I think, like 5 or 6 or 7%, depending on the item. And I'll tell you, I am blown away by how many of you are using the Amazon affiliate links that we have at the GFQ Network. It's actually amazing how many sales we're getting from there. I think we had like 155 items shipped this week. Last week we had another 100 and something. So I really appreciate all the help, and I really appreciate you guys using that link when you're buying it. If you go to gfq.co/Amazon, you could get it. And I just want to thank you guys because it's great, and I could buy Suncast nice stuff for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. You like how I teed you up there?
What did you do?
I teed you up that whole segment.
You did. You did a very good job at that, actually. You did a very good job. Let's talk about the big thing today, and that's the iPad Air is released.
Is that a big thing?
It is a big thing. I got it. I have it right here. This is the iPad Air. I'm going to do a little demo of it after the show. I'm going to do a comparison with the iPad 2 because the iPad 2 is still being sold, so I'm sure many people want to know how much faster it is. And I have to tell you, just really quickly, this is a beautiful device. The display is stunning. When you compare it with an iPad 2, a non-retina screen, you really start noticing how awful the screen is on the iPad 2. I mean, I didn't think it would be that drastic of a difference, but I've been using this for a majority of the afternoon, and I picked up the iPad 2 to do some tests. I was running applications at the same time, and boy, the iPad 2 looks awful. I mean, you could see all the pixels. It's really bad the display is not good compared to this unbelievable Retina display. So just a little teaser.
It's like you've been spoiled now. You've got that high-resolution display, and now there's no way you can go back to it. It's like now you've got that 24-inch monitor. There's no way you could ever go back to a 17-inch square monitor.
Yeah, forget about the performance. It's very light. I mean, we'll do a little demo of the performance. I mean, that's a given, but I didn't think there would be that much of a quality difference with the screen resolution. I mean, I knew that it's better, obviously, but I didn't. Just looking at these two side by side, it just really blurry, the iPad 2.
I would still be interesting to know people's takes on the iPad Air versus the iPad 4. I mean, is there that big of a difference that you're seeing even between those two generations? I mean, obviously, the iPad 2 and this iPad Air are going to have noticeable big differences, but is it that noticeable of a difference between last year's generation and this year?
I think size-wise, because this thing is really thin. the smart cover off. It's a really thin device, so the way that it feels in your hand, it's really different. But the biggest thing for me is that because the bezel is smaller, it actually gives you the illusion that the display is much larger than the iPad 2. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Well, initially, I think iPads had such a large bezel that it seemed a little bit awkward.
Yeah. So we'll do a little review of it at the end of the show. But I actually went to the store. I pre-ordered. So it was actually a little weird. I pre-ordered this. I didn't pre-order. I'm sorry. I ordered it for an in-store pickup. And the email said it takes up to an hour to have it ready. But you should wait for the confirmation. I didn't wait for the confirmation because I was running out of time. And I just went to the store when they opened. It was an hour in. And they didn't have it ready. So what I had to do, I went and bought an iPad from them because I thought I was expecting a line. There was no line. Nobody was in the store. It was actually as busy as it always is, moderately busy. They said they had maybe 10 to 20 people waiting, and they got through them immediately. They opened the store at 9:30, a little bit early. It was not this madness that I had seen with the iPad 2 when I went to the store for the iPad 2. And that's telling of, the rush, this crazy urgency of having this thing.
So you're saying that it's no longer necessary to do pre-orders?
I don't know. It's interesting because I would have imagined that pre-orders would have been a big deal. What I imagined they could do is do a pre-order for in-store pickup if that they wanted that chaos, they wanted that big buzz. But I don't see it was not busy at all. I mean, and they said they have more than enough. Like, there's no way that there's going to be a shortage.
Which is the complete opposite of what we're expecting for the iPad Mini.
Do you think we're going to get it for that?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a bigger demand for the iPad Mini, and unfortunately, it sounds like there's a much smaller supply of the iPad Mini versus the iPad Air.
Yeah, I guess that's the device to have. The Mini is the one that people want.
It is. Yeah, the iPad Air is really nice, but at the same time, I think people were waiting for a iPad Mini with Retina. Unfortunately, because it is Retina, there's supply issues.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of interest in the Mini. I like the larger screen. I play the games on this thing. It fulfills the need that I have. But
how is it weight-wise?
Very light.
Difference between
because
you do have an older iPad. But is that something that you find is easier just to hold on to?
It's much lighter. It's much lighter. I mean, there is
it something you think, if you're having to hold this thing for 20, 30 minutes, are you going to get tired of holding it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's fine. The weight is not an issue, but I like it. It's minor changes here and there. The performance of the games, which I'll demo at the end, but pretty cool. That was my experience. I mean, it was a very easy experience. I wouldn't have pre-ordered it. I wouldn't have had to call and cancel like I did if I knew how easy it was to do this.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's what I did. Here's the portion that I'm going to kind of lose my mind. Okay. So yesterday, Google announced the Nexus 5 with Android 4.4. It went on sale for $349 unsubsidized. It's available on AT&T.
That's a great price, by the way.
Phenomenal price. AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, and not Verizon. I kind of lost my mind when I heard this because it's on every carrier. It's not a GSM or CDMA issue. Sprint is not GSM. The chipset can handle Verizon because it's the same thing that they have in the Nexus 7. It was the same debacle with them where Verizon was not supporting the LTE. I don't understand this. I think this is once again Verizon dropping the ball. And I got a message. They go, how is it Verizon dropping the ball? They're not choosing to have the phone. It's their prerogative to choose it. Yes, but it's a phone. It's a major flagship phone that you're not supplying to your customers while everybody else is supplying it to their customers. This is once again Verizon not liking the fact that Google's pretty much giving this phone away. I don't understand why they would do that. Now, in the stories that I read, they said, well, Google and Verizon are working on something for 2014. Yeah, but this kind of defeats the purpose. This is really stupid because now I don't see a phone, and I'm speaking about my personal needs right now. I don't think most people are having this problem, but there's no phone that I really like right now, other than this. So now I'm going to be forced to switch my carrier so I could buy the phone that I want. This is 2005 all over again. I don't understand why they do this. Why Verizon has a bad habit of doing this. They did this with, I remember I bought the HTC Touch Pro because it was such a good phone on Sprint. And I bought it on Verizon, and Verizon had taken this thing, totally tore it apart. They made it Verizonized. They changed the body of it. They slowed it down, removed memory, and they sold it. This is just what Verizon does.
Verizon's an interesting company because some of their choices can be very weird. And I have two examples for this. One is an actual story I want to go into. And another one is the fact that you're upset about this. And I think this is something that is acceptable to be upset about. But at the same time, Verizon announced that they are actually going to carry and sell the BlackBerry Z30. Okay. I don't understand that whatsoever. This is a move that makes absolutely no sense to me because, quite frankly, I don't see Verizon getting any benefit from selling the Z30, which is a device that nobody's going to promote, nobody's going to be interested in. It's not going to sell, and if it does sell, there's just going to be so few of them that it's not going to make any difference to Verizon. So why are they selling the BlackBerry Z30? But not the Nexus 5?
I'll tell you why. Verizon has a problem with this unsubsidized concept. Verizon wants you to walk into a store or go to Verizon's website and buy the product. They don't want you to be able to go, to Google's website, buy it there, and activate it like that. They don't like that. They want the control over it. They also want to make it seem like you're getting a deal for getting a contract.
Most people still go to the cell phone store to get a freaking cell phone.
Yeah, but
they're not going to a website to buy a cell phone. But only people that are internet savvy are doing that.
But exactly, but they don't want it at all.
Go into a freaking store to buy a freaking phone.
Yeah, but they don't want it at all. They don't want Google having control like that. They also like the fact that they're making you think you're getting a great deal. You're buying an iPhone, for example, or you're buying an Android phone, and you buy it for you get it for $299, for example.
I don't think that makes any difference to people, to be honest. I think people will get what they want. It doesn't matter what the cost is. They're just going to get it. I mean, I think a good example of that is the fact that people buy iPads for $500. I mean, why wouldn't they go to a store and buy the phone they want, no matter what it's going to cost, even if it's $350 unsubsidized?
No. I think it's not a people problem. It's a Verizon problem. It's Verizon not liking the concept. It's Verizon not liking, because if you look on their website,
but there's no reason not to. The reasons you're saying that Verizon is not doing this doesn't make any sense to me, because they're saying that, oh, well, we can't get people to come to the store. But I think that's absolutely inaccurate.
No. Let me rephrase it.
Still go to the store.
Let me rephrase that. I'll give you an example, okay? On Verizon's website, you could go look at the pricing. So they have, let's say, $299 Samsung Galaxy S4 with a contract. Without a contract, it's $700.
Yeah.
They like that $700 price tag on there, because why? Because it makes the consumer think, well, if I get a contract, it's making me get a deal. This phone is $349 and as good as that phone, and it's unsubsidized. That's where Verizon's problem is.
But they don't. I don't think people, because normally they just tell them the on contract price to begin with.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that makes any sense to me.
So why do you think they're not?
The whole logic does not make any sense, because I think people will just go into the store and get what it is that they want. They might shop around for a little bit, ask what's out there. They can sell them. Why can't they just sell them this? I just don't see any difference between this and anything else.
Well, I mean, it's also the same argument with these unsubsidized prices are made up inflated prices. We all know that phone is not $700 worth. What they have done is the manufacturers and the carriers have strike this weird deal where they're inflating the price because they want the control of having the contract. That's where they make the money. They don't make the money from the phone. They make the money from the contract. And Google, this phone, the purpose is there's no contract. So this kind of takes the control out of their hands. But again, maybe you're right. Maybe that's not the reason. But then what's the reason why they wouldn't take this phone?
There's still going to be way more people interested in an Nexus 5 than there are for a Z30. I mean, honestly, who the heck is interested in a BlackBerry Z30 for a company that, honestly, how much longer are they going to be around? What's going to happen if they get sold? What's going to happen to your device? They could be gone. They could be completely gone in the next 24 months. I
think less than that. I think there's
Google,
a possibility.
however, they'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, something happened between these two companies. There's something because this is they've caught. But it's been a couple times this happened.
This is the weird thing too, though, is that yes, Verizon has that mentality, but at the same time, BlackBerry and Verizon also had a very bad relationship at one point in time.
Did they?
You remember? Over the whole Storm debacle, they hated BlackBerry for that.
Oh yeah, because
absolutely
they dropped the ball.
Hated BlackBerry. Yeah, because Verizon went to BlackBerry and said, "Make us an iPhone killer." They did the Storm, and it was a debacle. And so the entire relationship between Verizon and BlackBerry completely fizzled because of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Verizon is a weird company. They've always been weird with this.
They're still selling Android devices. It's just that they're not happy with Google themselves.
Someone said something interesting in the chat. They said the problem with Verizon is that they think they're an ecosystem, and I believe that. I do think Verizon thinks they're an ecosystem on their own. They've always had this weird mentality when it comes to bringing phones. AT&T gets every possible phone out there. Verizon does not. This has been going on forever. Forever. And then they'll take a phone, they'll rebrand it as their own phone. This is the weird practice of Verizon, and I've been critical of them, and I've supported them when they've done something good. I think they're totally dropping the ball with this one.
Yeah.
It's very
just to segue into something else, because you mentioned that Verizon likes to brand their own things.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this story, but Verizon is supposedly going to sell their own Android tablet, which is nicknamed Ellipsis right now.
I don't
know if you saw this.
I did.
Ellipsis 7. It's a 7-inch tablet, I believe. Where are the specs on this thing? Verizon Ellipsis 7, 2013, standard 7-inch Android tablet, albeit some overly heavy bezel action. There's not a lot of information about this, but it is Verizon branded according to the leaked rendering of this.
So who's manufacturing it? Do you know?
No idea. But I'm just wondering, why do we need yet another Android tablet?
Again, Verizon does that. They remember the Verizon branded laptops, netbooks they were selling a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Verizon branded, and what they were doing, you would go in there, they were selling it to you for $99, and then you have to sign a 1-year contract. 1-year contract at whatever, it was for the 3G access. Verizon loves doing that.
This is just a very bizarre thing because I think there's plenty of decent tablets to choose from. You have the iPad, you have the Samsung Galaxy Tabs, you have the Nexus 7, and the Kindle Fire, and even the Nook, I believe.
Yeah, so there's a lot to choose from.
So there's a lot to. Why would you buy a Verizon tablet out of all those other ones? I think an iPad or a Nexus 7 or even the Samsung Galaxy Tab is a better choice than whatever this branded version of a tablet is.
Well, you know who's buying that? You're going to walk into the Verizon store, and they're going to try to upsell you, and then you have no idea what you're buying. Most people don't know what they're buying. They go, oh, my God, $120 for a tablet? Okay, yeah, that's not a bad deal.
But it's going to be one of those super cheap things, and it's just...
Yeah.
It's a bad deal. It's just a gimmick.
Hey, John, talk about inexpensive devices. Did you read the story about how Android 4.4 KitKat is going to focus on budget phone performance?
No.
So that's I'm actually glad because they're saying that now the camera is the interface and the way that the phone is handling performance, it's going to work well on the lower end devices, not just the high end devices.
That'll be good.
I think that's great, and I think this is another way for them to kind of make the experience on lower end phones better because think about it. A lot of these phones are running older versions of Android, and they cannot be upgraded because it performance is so bad.
I don't know if it just can't be. Well, Android inherently has an upgrade problem to begin with.
Yeah, well, they did also say that the Galaxy Nexus is not getting the update.
Which is another. Why do we have all these weird things with updates? And I think this is something that even Microsoft is excelling at better than Google is in terms of offering updates. And yes, Google in some ways have improved this. They've released a update for their camera on one of the phones. I think the Moto X. They released it in the Google Play Store, so you can get it regardless of the carrier. But at the same time, why can't they just do that to begin with? They need to have the same model that Apple has, where whatever device you have that's come out in the last 18 months, the new version that we just released will be available for it in Google Play. Why not?
Yeah, it's baffling to me that they don't do that. Like, it's baffling.
It should be.
Baffling.
Is that just because of the openness of Android and because these manufacturers change so much of the operating system that's not even possible? Or if it's not possible, then that's a big issue, because that just creates even more fragmentation on top of a system, an ecosystem that's already very fragmented and in some ways is damaged a lot by the fragmentation.
But do you think it is the carriers, or do you think it's just the manufacturers not? I mean, why are the carriers against you updating the phone? That's my question.
I have no idea.
It's in the carrier's control, right? I mean, that's the big problem with Android, is that these updates are controlled by the carrier, not, Google or the manufacturer. Why don't they want you to update it? I mean, why is it that Apple's able to do it like this? Apple puts out an update, you go to iTunes and you download the update.
Well, I can tell you one of the reasons why that might be is because they want you to have an older device that's running slower, it doesn't have the latest, so you buy a new phone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the reasoning. But, Apple was able to get the deal and nobody else was able to get it. But you could even do it with Microsoft. Windows Phone, you could do it. You can now go do GDR3 on any of your Windows Phone devices. Windows Phone 8 devices.
Which I think is a brilliant way to do it. Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant.
It's a little bit of a pain to figure it out, but it works.
I think what you end up doing it in that sort of manner is that you end up with a more satisfied end customer, which I would think is still a win for the person on that carrier, because they're still with that carrier. They're not going to go, oh, I don't like this phone. Maybe there's something better out there. Maybe I should look at a different carrier. Maybe that different carrier has the phone that I want at the price I want instead of the carrier that I'm on now.
Yeah. 4.4 has an updated dialer, Hangouts to make it easily searchable. Voice search is now going hands-free through keyword activation. Refresh to Google Now. They've streamlined SMS into Google Hangouts, which now it's one unified chat. So a lot of these things have improved with 4.4. I think this is just their way of closing up the gap for their next major revision.
That's what it sounds like to me.
It really looks that way, and it's as someone that uses a Google phone, these are things that I welcome. I'm glad that they're kind of focusing in on fixing the little problems that have kind of annoyed Android users for a while now.
Yeah,
I do feel that the streamlining of certain features on this phone has been a major problem for them. John, new Google Hangouts.
Yeah, this is something that a lot of people were excited about this week.
Now, what do you think of it?
I'm not exactly sold on it. I think in some ways it's great, and in other ways it's not. I kind of like the darker interface, but I think in some ways you've kind of lost some of the more finite controls that you had.
Google Hangouts on Air can be scheduled and promoted with a dedicated watch page, which people have been wanting. Hangouts on Android supports SMS and location sharing, which that is awesome, the location sharing. That is something that I've been talking about for like 2 years now, right? Yeah. I've always been complaining about, why can't I just say, if my friend messages me, if John messages me, why can't I just send him where I am with one button? I think that's phenomenal. You can send and receive SMS without switching the app, obviously. The video calling experience has been improved, according to Google. It now has full screen and will fix it will fix and enhance webcam lighting automatically for users. Animated GIFs play inline now. So if you love GIFs, you could do that. They've also improved photo and video improvements to the way that it handles video.
This is very interesting. Some of the features that they have for what's it called? Awesome.
Yeah.
I think some of those features are very interesting, but at the same time, I don't know anybody that's using these things.
I've never used it.
I've never used it. I don't know anybody that's used it.
I'll tell you, I don't think
what
they do
they're
a good
doing
job
is
with
very
it.
nice.
Yeah, the problem with it that I've always had with these features, I mean, it's been there for a while, and they've used it for a while, but they don't do a good job at profiling or featuring that these features exist. I think that's what they're lacking.
Even getting to those features, I think, is cumbersome.
Yeah, it's a little convoluted.
I think and this is something that is just a problem with Google in general, is that they have a very hard time smoothly integrating everything together. All of their services, and this is something that is in contrast to Apple. I think Apple does things very well in terms of complete integration and polish, whereas Google feels a little bit more haphazard.
This was cool. Listen to this. Google has improved the object definition algorithm in Photos. The company states that it can now detect over 1,000 different objects and will include them in searches. So if you search for dogs, you may get dog photos in the results, even if you didn't tag them.
Mm-hmm.
That is really interesting, actually. I mean, they are doing some weird face recognition, which is fascinating.
A lot of these things are very, very weird. I did see a demo of the Auto Awesome movie creation feature. I don't quite understand that. I guess you just create a bunch of photos and clips, and I guess it'll make a movie out of it or something.
Yeah. So you take a bunch of video clips. You take a bunch of. Yeah. So you could take, like, let's say you went out to the mall with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And you're recording your trip, and you guys are having so much fun. You're in the mall, and you get an orange Julius, and then you do your shopping, and you take a couple photos and a couple video clips and a couple more photos. When you hit the Auto Awesome, it'll compile it into this event.
Yeah, but you also see. Here's the thing: is that you really got to think about this ahead of time. How all this is going to work out, because all it does is just make a single stream video of all of these events. There's not really any editing involved. It's just taking those clips that you have, those little clips, and making a video out of it.
Yeah,
one video. So you really have to think ahead of time of how this is all going to play out when they're all compiled.
Yeah, I would like to use this, but I can't because... wait a minute. It does work in selected Android 4.3 devices, so I'm curious if it works with mine. I should look into it. HDR stuff. I mean, this is cool. They're doing a good job, but I have my biggest problem with what Google does is that they release like 50 of these features at the same time, and they kind of get lost in the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would like them to do, little by little, just announce these things. Let me test them out first before you go crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
I don't even really know where to find these features, to be honest. Like they do a great job of showing you, look at these amazing features. Okay, how do I use them? They never tell you exactly how to use them. We have these amazing features. Okay, so what do? I upload a photo where? It's just whatever I take on my phone. Wait, maybe I just don't understand this whole Android experience fully. I don't know.
Yeah. Sony PlayStation 4, the release is right around the corner, and it will require a day one update. They're saying that it's going to require an update about 300 megs to do things like remote play, on the PS Vita, and the share buttons. So you're going to need to do a major update. This is going to be one of those things where people are going to buy this thing, plug it in, and sit there for 5 hours trying to do the update. Because everybody is doing the update at the same time.
Yep.
Oh boy,
this
oh
could
boy.
be a disaster.
Yeah. Actually, do you remember
all over again?
Do you remember when they did the announcement that you could do the online streaming? Like you could play it and it'll stream it to, I think it was Twitch or Ustream. And I think Microsoft had one, and PlayStation had the other. Well, PlayStation now allows you to do both Twitch and Ustream.
Yeah.
So you could pick whichever one you want, which I'm glad for, which I'll probably never use. I am pre-ordered for both of them. I don't think I'm going to keep both. I think I'm going to buy it and I'm going to sell it. And I'm more likely to sell.
You're going to keep whichever one you like best?
No, I think I'm just going to sell the PlayStation because I have someone that wants to give me a lot of money for it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The businessman in you.
Yeah, because I'm never going to turn it on. I'll tell you, I turned my PS3 went on maybe 5 times.
You can do the update for them and charge them another $100.
That's a very good idea. Look at that.
See, I can be a businessman too.
You want to pick a story?
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about this JD Power says tablet satisfaction study because this is something that I find interesting, and I'm not sure I 100% believe this is accurate or not because I'm finding a hard time believing this. So JD Power did a tablet satisfaction study, and it found that the Samsung tablets came out ahead of Apple's iPad. Now, previous years, the iPad, Apple's iPad, was on top of Samsung as number one in satisfaction. However, this year, they're saying that the Samsung Galaxy Tab has a higher satisfaction than Apple's iPad. And I'm finding a very hard time believing that.
Yeah, first of all, who's buying Samsung tablets?
Exactly.
Who's buying them? I really want to meet those people. Do you know anybody with one? I don't know anybody with one.
I don't know anybody.
I'm sure they're making.
They're even more rare than people that have a Microsoft Surface RT.
I mean, I'm sure people are buying them and they're good devices, but I don't get it.
You know what's funny though is if you look at this breakdown here, you don't even see Microsoft on this list.
Yeah, we see Samsung, Apple, Amazon, Asus, and Acer. So.
And even if you look at these numbers, it's a statistical dead heat between Samsung and Apple.
What, 835, 833?
Yeah. But by just 2 points.
And I'm sure there's a plus or minus 2%, 2 points. I'm looking at the plus or minus on this.
But you understand why I'm skeptical about why Samsung comes out ahead of Apple in the satisfaction survey.
Well, are they coming ahead because of market saturation?
How can that be? Because the majority of tablets out there are iPads. Quite frankly, I mean, more people own an iPad than I think own Samsung Android tablets.
Yeah,
I mean, they exist out there, but like you said, who actually owns one of those?
2013 U.S. Tablet Study, Volume 2, is based on experiences evaluating by 33,375 tablet owners who have owned their current device for less than 1 year. The study was fielded between March and August 2013. Study measured satisfaction across 5 key factors in order of importance: performance, 26%; ease of operation, 22%; styling and design, 19%; features, 17%; and cost, 16%. I cannot. This is a weird study. I wonder if they just got a weird group of people that use this device.
Yeah.
Samsung scored 835 on a 1,000-point scale. That is weird. I mean, you know what though? Let me ask you this. This is it. What are they classifying as a tablet?
Don't know.
I wonder if they're classifying the Note 3 as a tablet.
That's a good question.
I'm curious on what they're, how they do this.
But you can understand why somebody would be very skeptical about this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's one study.
I could understand if I've seen, several of my friends or several people in the last year that actually had a Samsung tablet, but I can't name one person or one time that I've seen a Samsung Galaxy tablet other than in a store. I've seen people with Kindles. I've seen them with iPads. I've seen them even with Microsoft Surface RT tablets. But not Samsung.
Yeah, it really I don't know what Samsung tablets
and why isn't Microsoft on this? Or is it just so far down there that people are that it just didn't even make the top of the list?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm sure that
Because if you look at this, out of the 5-star rating system that they have on there, Acer is ranked with 2 stars. So if Microsoft is further down on this list, they have less than 2 stars, which is a very concerning factor for Microsoft, I would think.
I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that people really don't know what they're buying. They're buying an RT device that has desktop, but they can't run desktop apps on there. I mean, that's a little crazy. It's like buying a house with a kitchen, but you're not allowed. You can't cook anything on there because the stove doesn't work. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Like, hey, look, you could be in the kitchen, you could look at the stuff in the kitchen, you could take stuff that's already in the kitchen and move it around, but you can't add anything else, including food, water.
This is a fascinating study.
Yeah, I found that interesting too. I don't know. Go into another story, John, then we'll do our picks.
So I want to get your opinion on something that Facebook is considering doing.
Okay.
Facebook is considering tracking your mouse, cursor, and screen views to improve its ads. So every time that you move your mouse, wherever it is, they're going to track that. Just so that they can improve their targeted ads.
See, they're going to think I'm insane because I have a habit of putting the mouse around someone's face and just spinning it around. Someone is calling my FaceTime right now. I missed a call on FaceTime, which is weird. That is bizarre. That's honestly what I do. I take my mouse and I put it over somebody's face and I just go around in circles. So they're going to think I'm like a crazy person, just insane. The ad stuff. Are you concerned over the ad stuff that they're talking about now? On how they're going to be tracking people?
To a degree, yeah. I'm fine with advertising, but I think some of the data that they're trying to collect for targeted ads, I think goes a little bit too far. I just, the fact that they're using my location, they're using my history, my browser history, I think that's wrong. I think that's just a little bit too invasive.
That they're doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the idea behind it, but at the same time, I think that's just a little too far for me. I don't want them collecting that information because I don't know what else they're doing with that information.
I don't know how I feel about it, honestly.
In this day and age, it's very hard to trust any company with data that it has about you.
Yeah. I don't know, like with
seen
FaceTime,
a lot of issues. And let's face it, even this whole recent Adobe hack is a good example of this. Is the fact that they initially said it was 3 million accounts that were compromised, but now it turns out to be about 35 million accounts that have been compromised in this hack. So you really got to be careful with your data out there now. It's so scary. It really is. But it's a fact of life now is that you just kind of, because the internet is just there and it's so useful, but it's also so insecure.
When it comes to Facebook and when it comes to my information that I'm providing them on my own, I'm opting into giving this information. I cannot be upset at things that they do with it. I don't necessarily trust them, but I am more aware of what I'm doing. I only put stuff that I want on there. I don't put stuff that I don't want on there. I don't opt in for auto uploads. I don't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But
at the same time, you don't know what it is that they're doing with that data.
Well, I don't know what they're doing with the data of my mouse.
Yeah.
And tracking of my mouse. I don't like that. I don't know. It's a little disappointing, but you know what? We're given the information. Guess what? If enough people don't like them, they'll stop doing it. If enough people stop using the service, they'll stop doing it.
Never gonna happen.
That's never gonna happen.
People are. This is the. I'm gonna use this term, and you're gonna laugh. It's the whole low information voter thing.
Yeah. Low information voters.
I use it in Tech News Weekly. There you go.
Yeah. So John, why don't we? My review is going to be a little longer. I'm going to take a couple minutes to do my review and my comparison with my iPad. Do you want to do your pick first?
Sure, I can do my pick first.
Okay, so why don't we do that? Because I'm gonna take some time with mine. So, John, what is your pick of the week?
All right, so my pick of the week is a plugin for WordPress. We're still developing a new website for GFQ right now. And there's a plugin that I found that is just absolutely amazing to use for creation of your website if you're using WordPress. It's called Visual Composer. It's an awesome, amazing plugin for WordPress. It's $25, which is not bad for the amount of work that you can do with this thing. It allows you to create layouts very easily. And instead of having to do all this different coding and CSS and PHP and everything else by hand, you can basically just figure this out on your own. So if you don't know a whole lot about coding, you can just use Visual Composer and create almost any sort of imaginable layout that you can think of. If you want to have 2 columns, you want to have 1 column, a sidebar, and then, just 3 columns, or just whatever imaginable layout that you want. This thing is pretty freaking cool. They have like 44 different blocks. I really can't say a whole lot about this because I'm just now getting into it. But they have 44 different content elements out of the box ready to go, and a skin builder. So it makes it very easy to use this plugin and create the kind of layout that you want. It works for pages and it works for posts. So you can custom design your pages and your posts in the sort of manner that you want, which is really cool. You're watching the video there. What do you think about this?
I think it is pretty cool.
Doesn't necessarily know a lot about coding. You can do quite a bit with this.
Yeah, it seems like it's there's a lot of features on here that you could use, actually, and we could use.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's really nice about this is that it's responsive and mobile-ready layouts. So if you're looking for something that's going to be very good for an iPhone, a tablet, a netbook, a monitor, you can easily create a layout that's going to work very well for all of those devices based on Visual Composer, which is ready to go out of the box with so many different things. It has social widgets, share links, just all that sort of stuff that you could want for a layout with a theme. You can really customize a theme with this thing. It's really freaking cool. It's only $25, and go to vc.wpbakery.com if you want to check out more about it.
Very, very cool, John. Very nice pick of the week. So my pick of the week this week is something that I showed off a little earlier in the show, and that is the iPad Air. I just got it today. Today was a launch day for it, and I thought I would take some time and talk about, some of the features on this thing, what I have noticed over the last couple hours of using it, the things that I like, things that I don't like. I also wanted to show you guys a little comparison with the iPad 2 because I have both of them here, and they're both the same color, so it's an even comparison. Immediately off the bat, the thinner bezel is a tremendous improvement. It even gives you the illusion that the screen is larger because the bezel is so much thinner. So when you compare two of these, it actually looks like the screen is bigger on the device. The device is smaller. If you could see here, I have an iPad 2 behind it, and I have the iPad, so it actually is smaller. It's actually smaller by the size of the bezel. I don't know if you can see this, John.
It's a little hard to see.
So actually, let me switch to this camera. I could go to camera 7. Nope, 8. Nope. Which camera is it? Of course, the profile didn't save when I. Here we go. So I don't know if you could see right here.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see that now.
So that's it's significantly thinner, smaller than the other one. Very responsive. Very quick to use, easy to use. But the biggest question is there a significant difference between the two? If I have an iPad 2, should I buy this one? And it's not an easy question. I'll tell you why. If you like if you like playing games, you're automatically going to see a performance increase. The thing that really makes this device better than the prior one, the previous model, is the Retina display. If you have an iPad 4, if you have an iPad 3, you know what? I can't speak about it because I don't own them, so I don't know if it's necessarily a huge improvement you're going to get over this device. But if you have an iPad 2, you are going to see a tremendous difference in the screen quality. I've been using this for majority of the afternoon. I went to the iPad 2 to do some testing, and automatically it looked grainy, it looked blurry, it was not sharp, and it really looked crappy as far as the display goes. I want to now do like a little quick test, John, of opening up an application and kind of showing the performance increase. So let's go to this shot here. Let's put it here. I don't know if you could see this. Okay, I think this will work. So I'm gonna launch 2 of these applications at the same time. They're both Facebook. So you see how much faster it loads.
That is a lot faster.
Yeah. So I'll load up another application. Why don't we try? What should I try, John?
Reddit?
I don't have the Reddit stuff, the different profiles. So let's launch something with the same profile. Let's launch the camera. So I'm going to do... I can't even reach it. Let's try this. Okay, I'm going to hit the camera button at the same time. So, I mean, it launched faster, but it wasn't a significant launch. But any application that requires some time, like let's do Plants vs. Zombies 2, right? Which it's a new game. It's, graphically, it's a beautiful game.
And part of that is due to the new A7 CPU in there and the 64-bit architecture.
So here we go. Much faster. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a phenomenal device. I mean, nice. It's pretty. It's nice. I actually think this closes the gap between the mini and the regular iPad because it's smaller in size. So you could actually hold it in one hand like this when you really can't do it to this one. I'm straining my fingers by doing this.
Yeah.
So the gap is kind of closed because it's a smaller device, but it's stunningly beautiful. I mean, if you're on the fence about the size of the device, it is thinner than the iPad. As far as, the width of this thing. So I recommend it, John. I don't know. I know you're a big fan of the Retina, the Mini.
I think a lot of people are still, if they're on the fence between which device to choose, I think they're still going to wait for the Mini to come out, and because they can go to the store and compare them side by side, which one they're going to want.
I played a graphic intensive game earlier on this thing, and I was actually surprised at how well it handled it compared to the iPad 2 when it couldn't handle the game at all.
Wow.
You're going to see, I mean, performance-wise, this thing is amazing. The only thing that's really missing from these iPads is television integration with all these games. I really want to get a controller, make this, send it over AirPlay, get a controller, and just play it that way.
Wouldn't that be great if all your TV could be integrated amongst all of your devices?
I mean, that'd be phenomenal. But unfortunately, you can't do that right now.
I'd love that.
The iPad Mini Retina, you're gonna get because it's smaller, so it's a nicer
those
display.
pixels in more.
Yeah. So, but this is great. I mean, I absolutely love it. Now, $500, you got to justify spending that money. But if you have an iPad and you're looking to get a new one, I definitely recommend it. This is definitely an improvement over the previous versions, and it's much thinner, much thinner. I got it in graphite black. No, space. What is it? Space gray? Space black? Space gray.
Space gray.
I got it in that. So that's my pick of the week, John.
Cool.
The iPad Mini 5 Air Super Edition. That's a new one that I'm making up. Are you gonna get the Retina Mini?
I am undecided as of this moment. I have to figure out what purchases I'm going to make this holiday season.
Yeah, because now I also have the Xbox, the PlayStation, that possibly. I think I might get just that one.
There's so many things you could easily get somebody this holiday season.
Just buy them a cantaloupe.
Yeah,
that's it. Everybody gets fruit. A basket of giant fruit. All right, John, let's wrap it up. Go to our website, gfqnetwork.com. If you miss any portion of the show, you can catch it archived there. Also, we're on everywhere podcasts are available, iTunes, Windows Phone, every possible place. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarin. You can follow John at Suncast. I should have a separate review of this up on YouTube and on our website in a couple hours, or maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow you're going to put it up, right?
Whenever I can get to it, because there's a lot of stuff I got to do.
Whenever he could get to it, guys. So that's
I'll try to get it up today, but we'll see.
Thank you. Until next time. Hey, guys, also use our Amazon affiliate link, gfq.co/Amazon. Help us out. Use the link, and we'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.